Oh, happiness curve. Okay, I want to talk about this. Yeah, it's a big topic. And I want your honest opinion, especially if you're young. If you are under 30, honestly, if you're under 30, then I want to hear your thoughts on this. And it's not insanely out of the realm of what we talked about before, but I just saw more concrete data today. Oh, I found it. Okay, here it is. Here's the subject. So there's this thing in happiness research called the happiness curve. And it looks like this. This is your age, and this is how happy you are. Smiley face. Put a smiley face in chat, please. And generally, it's like this huge, it's like this Nike swoosh type curve. And it looks like this. You're pretty happy when you're young, and then as you hit middle age, which is between 30 and in some countries 60, but really more like 45, 50, you get the lowest happiness. This is where you're like most unhappy because you have lots of jobs and you have responsibilities and kids and life and house and bills and pressure, and your body's getting older, okay? And then after this period, this later in life period, happiness actually rises again and gets pretty hot. This is a repeated study all over the world, different countries, hits every time, like very, very consistent. It's like a smile, they call it, your happiness curve. What I'm bringing up today is this new thing from The Economist that I'm almost afraid to tell you guys because it's kind of sad. But basically says the middle-aged, which would be this, are no longer the most miserable. Since, and this is like recent, this is like since 2019, this curve has been reliable for decades, by the way. This curve has broken since 2019. And now it looks like this. It's just, the most miserable are just the young. The curve has become warped. And in fact, yeah, it's really more flat. It's like this, really. And then old people are happy. It's like 65. It's like this, dude. Basically, everyone's miserable except for the old. Since 2019 specifically. But, you know, what I'm trying to say is young people across the world are reporting the highest levels of misery of any age group. These people under 30 are more miserable than they've ever been and more miserable than everyone else, which is actually fucking crazy. Which is actually fucking crazy and historically anomalous. And this is not just America. Some people are thinking this is like phones or an America thing. This is true. I mean, we have hardcore data for America. We have hardcore data for the UK, but we also have data showing this across 44 countries in Africa, Asia, Europe, Latin America, and the Middle East. Young people are consistently reporting more gloom, more misery, and more problems. And so, you know, this article goes into some of the possible reasons, and it throws out some of the ones that you might have thought. They don't think there's a strong link between smartphone and social media use and this, largely because it started in 2019. They really think it has a lot to do, as I've probably mentioned a lot, with the economy. In that, like, there's a pretty good link between having a job and some resilience to your happiness level. But even that link is fraying because Gen Z are reporting that they are less satisfied with their jobs than previous young people. Like, the jobs are less stable. People are less happy with them. They feel like they have less career advancement. They feel like they have less, I don't know, they have more stress with their boss, but also it's harder to find a job. So the most miserable you are is when you're looking for a job and cannot find one. And that's higher too. Youth unemployment is on the rise in all of these different countries. I think there's a lot of ways you can take this and look at this, but I think the core of it is something I've just been saying over and over and over again, and that I really want to hammer home, which is like, there's an age component to this. And it's not just in America. In fact, let me show you this speech. This is crazy. I wanted to do a whole separate presentation about France, so I might replay this clip. But I'm gonna show it to you today because it's so relevant to what I'm saying. The Prime Minister of France is likely going to lose his job next week because he's trying to create a balanced budget and nobody likes him. This is the same in almost all developed countries with big debt problems, is that nobody can get anything passed because nobody wants to cut spending and nobody wants to raise taxes, okay? Nobody can balance the budget. And so he tried to do this. I got a French speech, but I also got a translated one. Here's the translation one. This is in French. You can't tell.
Pas ça génial? Tout ça pour le confort de certains partis politiques.
He's gibberish, but here's the translation, okay?
They're the ones who are the victims. They're the ones who will have to pay off.
Talking about young people. He starts out talking about young people, but this is young people, okay?
They're the ones who are the victims. They're the ones who will have to pay off the debt for their entire lives. And we've managed to make them believe that it needs to be increased even more. Don't you think that's brilliant? All this just for the comfort of certain political parties and for the comfort of the boomers, as they say, who, from this point of view, think that, well, everything is just fine.
This is like so core of what I believe and been saying. This is so core. We just keep driving head first at a wall, knowing it's going to be a problem, and borrowing like crazy and spending like crazy because it'll keep the boomers comfortable until they die. We're going to keep their assets propped up as long as we can. It's going to cause so many problems and so much strain, but it'll keep them comfortable until they pass through this earth. And it's crazy. And it's happening not just in America, but all over. It's happening in France. It's happening in the UK. It's happening in Australia. It's happening in Canada. It's happening in China. China has high youth unemployment. We have this problem where like there's a government by the old who are just, they've given up on growth. They've given up on competition or innovation, or they're only focused on keeping what they have propped up. And it's just, it's fucked, dude. It's fucked. And so I think that is the core reason behind this crazy warping of the happiness curve, which again, this curve has been a smile through world wars. This curve has been a smile through like a lot of things, but it's bent this way now because of how doomed I think young people feel. And I don't want to say doomed. Doomed may be the wrong word, but just like they've got a huge amount of weight. Their atlas is a big globe on their shoulders because of how much it's been stacked for boomer prosperity. All I'll say is that a boomer related to somebody that works on my show saw a previous clip of mine where I blamed the boomers for propping up all their retirement accounts at the expense of everybody else. This guy showed me the text from his dad, and it was like long. It was like really long, and it was like explaining how I didn't get it. How I didn't understand like boomers actually had it really tough too. And that, you know, it took a lot of skill to be able to hold through those previous downturns in the market and ride the, you know, it was just like, it was a rough thing to read because, you know, I'm sure, you know, for example, you know, like if this is US home prices for 100 years, holding and maintaining through the Great Recession, there's something to that, I get. Usually just be wealthy already for it. But on the whole, every minor downturn has been met with like massive debt and money printing from the government to reinflate whatever bubble you were in. Whether it's stocks or real estate or anything, anytime there was an actual downturn or actual price discovery, the government stepped in and borrowed from the future to make sure it would keep going up. And so I don't think it was that hard. I don't think it was that difficult. And we're at the end of the road on that. We're running out of rope and we're paying the price is all I'm saying. It's just, I think people that are young are feeling the weight of this and feeling the limitations of their government and how much it can spend. And I find it to be really frustrating. And I don't think, this obviously it's a hashtag not all boomers, but I'm just kind of getting sick of boomers still running the government this long, where I'm getting sick of it. I don't think they are equipped for the challenges that the world faces now. And they're just going to continue this on this path of burying their heads in the sand and keeping their shit going until they're off this earth. And it's kind of frustrating me. Anyway, that's just that discussion I wanted to have. I'm not trying to be depressing about it. And obviously there's exceptions and people are happy. Some people are happy, but it's a weird stat to see that curve bend. Devil's advocate, what is the difference between running out of rope and not using the rope, to use your analogy? If your rope is a metaphor for debt, okay, then the difference is you still have some rope. If you don't use it, then in an emergency, you still have it. You could use it for something. If you run out of it, then you're when you need it, you have no rope. You're useless. You're out. That's what I'm saying. So, you know, if the US government ran a balanced budget and didn't have massive debt, then if there was a problem, yeah, we could dip into the debt and then pay it down when times were good. But we've never paid it down when times are good. In fact, when times are good, we take more debt. We just keep adding to the debt. And now when we need it, we can't borrow. No one's gonna loan us any money. That's the best way I could say it, okay?